We are so excited because we are being led tonight by our amazing consultants. And I know that Nancy and Mary Beth and I have been looking forward to this for since last week. And I know our consultants are as well. So I'm just going to be quiet. We're going to be quiet. We're going to turn it over to you guys, and we cannot wait to learn from you. So take it away, Celeste.
Jazz is going to start us off with the opening prayer. So you go, girl.
Okay. I'm going to start off with the opening prayer. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Okay, good. I'm in my car. All right. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this opportunity and this time to be together and gather together for another meeting, God. I just ask that in the midst of all the rain and the storm and all of the tornado warnings, God, I just ask that you would allow us all to have service tonight and tomorrow, and allow us to make it through the night with no hurt, harm, or danger. God, I just thank you, God, for this opportunity to learn from each other. And I just ask that you would open our ears and our hearts to receive whatever we have to share with our sister consultants tonight, God. And I just ask that you would light a spark within each of us, God, especially those of us who have had a little bit of a hard time, God. I just ask that you would remind us as to why we're doing this, God. And I just ask that you would allow us to be vulnerable enough to reach out to who we need to reach out to in our upline, God. I just ask you and I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Awesome. Thanks, Jazz. So good. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go over some of the announcements. So first of all, we just wanted to thank our directors for giving us the opportunity to use our leadership skills. We're really excited about being able to present tonight. The second thing is, remember that PCP books are going out in the mail very soon. So be printing those lists off of Mary Kay In Touch and have a plan to follow up with those customers. The third announcement is, don't forget also about the challenge for the new clinical solutions with retinol. So if you missed the training last week, first of all, it was amazing. We got a lot of good nuggets, and we also had some homework. So there were videos that we were supposed to watch on the product, because it's a little bit different than like a traditional thing, since it's clinical, and it is a special regimen that requires like a lot more guidance than most of our products. And so if you pre-sell 5 of these to your customers, then you'll be entered to win your own personal set. And one of the announcements that was on In Touch that I wanted to share was that ordering actually starts tomorrow for the mini deluxe sets. So you can get the mini deluxe sets. There's not an ordering limit. And so you can use this to your advantage to kind of let your customers try it out and kind of see how they like it. And the actual launch day is on February 15th. There are no ordering limits on the deluxe mini or the full size set, but there are ordering limits if you buy them separately, which is not encouraged. So just kind of keep those things in mind. And also, star deadline, it might seem like it's far away, but it's coming up faster than you might think. So it's March 15th. So just think, are you meeting your current goals and pushing yourself towards that deadline? So I'm trying to talk kind of slow because I'm worried that I'm cutting out. Okay, does it sound all right? Okay. Okay, then as for recognition, did anyone sell product this week? Any product at all? Okay, I see a lot of hands, a lot of hands. That's awesome. Did anybody have a $100 day? Okay, I see Alana's hand and maybe some hands of people that are driving. I don't know. And okay, did anyone add a new team member? Okay. Did anybody have any other success stories that they wanted to share? Anything that they want to share about their business or things they discovered? I have a story. I don't see any hands. So I wanted to share something that I shared with Mary Beth this week. And it has to do with one of my customers. And I just the most amazing story ever. So it's for the good of all. I promise it's a good story. So one of my customers, we had a facial back at the end of March, and it was the first time she had ever used Mary Kay, and we did a charcoal mask. And you know how whenever you use the charcoal mask, then the spots on your face, they turn white so that you can kind of see them. Well, she had this white spot like right at the tip of her nose, and she was like, that's really weird. Like, I don't know if that's a pimple. Like, I've never noticed that before. And so she started looking at it more and more, and she ended up calling her a doctor to look at it for her. And they couldn't get her appointment until the middle of September-ish. And whenever they finally did look at it, they found out that it was skin cancer. And she got it removed, and she came to me in the hallway and she told me that the only reason why she knew that she had skin cancer was because she did the charcoal mask. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, because if you think that you're not out there changing lives, you don't know how it's going to affect other people. So I just thought that was a crazy story, and it gave me chills. So I just wanted to share it. Okay. Well, I will turn over to Christina.
Hey, can I interrupt for just a second? So Celeste left off a little smidget of her story. So when she was chatting with this teacher, she also had another teacher that kind of overheard. Am I right, Celeste? And then she got about some products in the break room. And so another teacher was like, I want what she's using. And so guys, when we're talking about Mary Kay, when you guys are talking about Mary Kay to other people, people are listening to what you're talking about, and they hear, women are nosy. I always say we're what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think. I'm having a moment. But anyway, and so guys, if you're in a school or an office building, you're somewhere with other women, if you're on a team, like a softball team or whatever, guys, make it your goal to have all those women as your customers. You know, how amazing would that be? I shared this with Celeste. How amazing would it be if you were in that entire school and every single teacher there, 50 teachers bought from you? That would be amazing. So anyway, I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to hear you girls tonight. So take it away, Christina.
Wait, can I say a story? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so it isn't as great a story. One of my old friends reached out to me because she's selling Cutco, and don't really want to, but I have people listen to my Mary Kay spiel, so why not? So I went and I listened to her demo. And as soon as the demo was over, I was like, so have I told you that I sell Mary Kay? She goes, no. I'm like, you should do a party with me. She goes, I most definitely will, because you sat through my demo. The end.
Okay. I thought you were cutting out. That's so good. Awesome. We love success.
So are we good? Does anybody else have anything? I'm really loving hearing the stories, because I'm what I'm getting ready to talk about is mindset, and hearing the stories help with our mindset whenever we're moving forward. So don't let me stop you. It's good stuff. I wanted to say, like, our theme tonight when we were talking was inner circle, now what? So what do you do whenever you've exhausted all the people that you think that you know and all your close friends and family? And as we got to talking about that, we got to the point of talking about mindset, because I know with myself, what inhibits me from moving forward to talk to someone about Mary Kay is myself. It's totally myself. It's the thoughts that are going through my head. And I think that we all do that. We compare ourselves to other women, or we compare ourselves to someone who seems more successful to us. And it's not really fair to do that. It's not fair to ourselves, and it's not fair to the other person. I'm a teacher by trade. And one thing that we teach our kids is a growth mindset, because a lot of people have the thinking that you're either born smart or you're not. And kids think this way too. And we start teaching them that that's just not the case. You grow. We all grow from whatever point we are, we grow. But within ourselves, what we say to ourselves is what helps us to grow. If we'll get frozen into our thoughts sometimes to where we don't allow ourselves to grow. And I see that with my students a lot, and we have to just work through that. So to start with that, like, think about yourself right now and where you are. Think about those inner thoughts that you have about yourself that maybe not, maybe you're thinking, well, I'm not going to be successful in this business because I'm not very charismatic, or maybe I'm not thin enough, or maybe I don't have the right skin, or maybe I really am really bad at doing my makeup, you know. But all of those are things that do not matter. They're things that do not matter. Listen to what I'm saying with this. We think that those things matter, but what really matters is what we're thinking in our head. I have been on a kick lately of really getting to know Gloria Mayfield Banks. I wish I could get to know her personally, but I've been getting to know her through YouTube and Instagram and all of these things. And let me read to you what she says. She says, it's not what you do, it's what you think that makes you do what you do. It's what you think. So changing our thoughts are so important, because it is what drives us to do the things that we do. So I want you to think for a minute, what is something that you learned to do in your life? What is a skill that you've had, that you have now, that you didn't have before? Anything. I'm talking anything. Can you read? You haven't always been able to read. You weren't born reading. You had to learn that skill. And some of you really had to, some of us really had to learn hard. You know, we really had to go through a struggle to be able to learn how to read. I'm going to tell you my biggest struggle. Okay, riding a bike. This girl could not ride a bike until she was 13 years old. But I was bound and determined I was going to ride that bike. But all my friends were riding their bikes. All of them can do it. But I was not gifted with this talent of balance. Evidently, it takes balance and dexterity to be able to ride a bike. I didn't have that. But I learned it. I said, I'm going to ride that bike and I'm going to continue to learn it. Now, playing the piano, there were things about myself, about my personality, about the way that I was just wired. I learned how to play the piano when I was 4 years old. And I don't remember learning. It came to me. It seemed like it came naturally to me, but I still had to learn it. Now, why do I share both of those stories? We do have things that we are naturally born with. And if you've taken those assessments that were given out, those are some good clues into our person about what we're naturally born with. And it's a little easier for us to learn those things. But I want you to think of something that you struggled with, something that you had a hard time learning, but you were able to get there because you had the determination to get there. Was it crocheting? Was it knitting? What was it? Just something that you said, I want to learn to do this, and I don't really have this natural ep to be able to do it, but I'm going to do it. And riding a bike was that for me. And thinking in that kind of mindset is what I'm starting to apply to this business. So I've been doing some research and some things because Mary Beth had mentioned, she said, I really encourage you to find your weak spot. And that's what I want you to teach about. And guys, my mindset is my weak spot. I'm going to tell you it's my weak spot. Because I knew that was my weak spot, I've started just digging into stuff, to say, how can I change my mindset? How can I change the way that I think about myself? And I've been watching videos. I've been listening to motivational music. And whenever we're thinking, what do we have to do to motivate ourselves? You do whatever it takes. It's whatever it takes. So whatever you need to do to motivate yourself, that's what you do. Someone else that I've been listening to is Eric Worre, and Gloria Mayfield Banks actually endorses him. He's someone who really helps people who are in network marketing. And I've pulled some little bits and pieces from his book, GoPro. GoPro, I just heard was in the news about this video. It's not that GoPro. It's not the video camera GoPro. It is the book GoPro. And it is talking about taking your network marketing business and becoming a professional with it. And one thing that he talks about is, do you have an employee mindset or do you have an entrepreneurial mindset? An employee mindset, one example of that would be like waking up on Monday and it's like, oh, it's Monday. Oh, I've got to do this again. Very guilty of that here. Entrepreneurial mindset is like, Monday, what's Monday? Every day is work day. And it's not because it's work, it's because I'm enriching my life, I'm enriching other people's life, and I'm living an abundant life. And whether that abundance is in monetary things, or if that abundance is in just giving of self and loving others and pouring into self. And that is what really an entrepreneurial mindset is. You're doing what you love. And there's so many things about comparing those two mindsets. There's so much information out there, and I encourage you to look that up. But right now, if you don't believe in yourself, borrow somebody else's belief. Borrow somebody else's belief in yourself, because somebody does. I do. I believe in you. Now, I might not mean much because you don't know me very well, right? A lot of you don't. And that's okay. But take someone like Gloria Mayfield Banks. She's going to say, I want to encourage you. I'm telling you, I'm all about her right now. She has a Facebook group called The Power Huddle. That's HUDDLE, The Power Huddle. And to plug into that, I think would be a great idea to help keep you motivated. So once you start finding that place in yourself that you're changing your mindset, you want to decide what your commitment level is. I had to decide what my commitment level was. I know before, whenever I first started out with Mary Kay, I was really just kind of wishy-washy. I was dipping my toe in. I was like, oh, let's just kind of see what this does. And I really mainly wanted the discount. I have 3 teenage daughters. I needed that discount. We love these products. But as time has gone on, and I don't have time to go into the whole story, but I found that Mary Kay is what God was using in my life to bring me to a higher place, a better place with him, and to heal my own depression and some things like that. God has used the people that I'm meeting during this to help me with that. And he's put a purpose in me that has made me want to increase my commitment level to the business itself, and realizing that it is a mission for me. It is so much more than just a business. So taking that mindset and that commitment level and moving it forward, how do we turn that into action? So going back to Eric Worre, in his book, he said there's 3 main things that you want to focus on whenever you're growing. That is your mindset, your skills, and your strategy. And so 3 main things you need to be successful in any kind of network marketing business. So your mindset, like we said, is a big thing. Your skills, you're teachable. If you're teachable, you need to go through, learn what are the skills that I need to learn. What are the skills that I need? And which ones am I weakest at? And I need to grow in those skills. And just, there's a lot of information out there. So you want to be kind of, discerning on what information you're bringing in. So I'm plugging those 2 people because I believe in Gloria Mayfield Banks, and she plugs Eric Worre. So I'm going to listen to Eric Worre and Gloria Mayfield Banks right now. So, there's a lot of information out there, and you don't want to get distracted and move from side to side, but look at what your skill set is, what you need to grow in, and move. And then implement a strategy. What is the strategy that I'm going to use for marketing? What's the strategy that I'm going to use for prospecting? What's the strategy that I'm going to use to assign more people on with Mary Kay to give them the opportunity for this opportunity? So getting back to what our focus is tonight, inner circle, now what? One thing that I learned is our active candidate list. So when we're prospecting, we want to build what's called an active candidate list. So you start, of course, with your first 30 names, your closest friends and family. You grow that list to 100. You think of all the people that you can possibly think of, every single one. If it's somebody that you don't like, it doesn't matter. You know them, you put them on the list. If it's somebody that you think, oh, they're not going to be interested, it doesn't matter. You know them, you put them on the list. You put every single person on your list that you know. And then step 2, you take a look at your list and you think about all the people that they know. So who are the people that my son knows? Who are the people that my son's friend knows, or my daughter's uncle's aunt knows? Now, I mean, I know all those people because we're all related, but you get what I'm saying. And so you think about all the people that they know. Next, you're going to constantly expand your list. So that sounds a little bit impossible. I just listed all the people I can possibly know, and I just listed all the people that they know that I think they know. But to continue that, it's called an active candidate list. So that means it's growing every day. So you're adding 2 new people to that list every day. That is step 3. If you add 2 new people to that list, that's 600 new people a year. So it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to prospect them. I mean, this is your active candidate list. You're just putting those people on your list, and you are building relationships with these new people, and you're learning more about these people's lives. And then eventually, whenever the time comes for you to start talking about your business with those people, the time will come. But you're adding the people on the list, and this is this beautiful long list of people that you get to start building relationships with, building friendships with, and inspiring, talking to, learning from, all of these things, because that's the focus first. And then you start bringing the business side in later, because it'll start to come naturally. And then finally, that last step is to network on purpose. So how do you meet 2 new people every day? Well, you got to get out into the world. So I don't know, with COVID, it's a little harder to get out into the world, but there's still social media is huge. You can add people that you meet on social media. You can you can go ahead and volunteer somewhere where you're able to volunteer right now during COVID. And you can join a gym, join a new gym. Think of all the different things that you can do to meet new people and to grow within yourself and to enrich your life, as well as enriching other people's lives. So that is all I have for my part. So I hope that you got something out of that. I know I learned a lot by preparing for this.
Awesome. Thanks, Christina. That was so good. Yeah, my mind is also blown. That was very good. I am gonna kind of talk off of Christina, and I'm going to talk about the active candidate list and how to turn acquaintances into contacts and where to specifically look to find those people that you know. And so the first thing that I wanted to let you know is that we have pivoted a lot this year with COVID and everything. And so think about, whenever you are considering these people, like really think about, how have you yourself grown and pivoted, and like how can you use that to your advantage? So like normally we would restrict our people to like where we are locally, geographically, but you can, with technology, continue to do things virtually, and that's an avenue that you can continue to use. So like, don't limit yourself to the people that you see in person every single day. It can be more than that. And so with, like Christina said, listing everybody that you know. So I'm just gonna give you some different ideas. So if you are not married, then think about who you would invite to your wedding if you were going to get married. If you are married, then think about who you invited to your wedding. I remember whenever Mary Beth was first asking me to start my business, and she said, okay, list everybody you know. I said, Mary Beth, I don't know anybody. She said, I'm pretty sure you told me that you invited 200 people to your wedding. And I said, oh yeah, I don't know about that many people. So she caught me, and I did know about 200 people, and that's who I kind of started with on my list. And I'm, still, some of them are still on my chicken list, and some of them are people that are now my customers. Ask your significant other, because some of those people we like block from our brain. We're like, nope, because they're on your chicken list. So you that was there. Another idea is people that you bank with. So you don't have to start with you don't have to start by like offering product or like offering a facial. You could build goodie bags for people that work at a bank and get some phone numbers to follow up with people, or you can just start by getting her name and getting to know her as a person. Like Christina was saying, add her to your 2 people a day. Whenever you build your foundation on brick, your business is going to last. Those are wise words from Mary Beth Singer that I don't know where she got them, but she told me the other day, and I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to go off of. So building those relationships are going to really just help build that solid foundation. Another idea is like, who cuts your hair? Who is your hairstylist? You sit there for like an hour and a half at least whenever you get your hair done. So surely at least some point in time, then you might bring up Mary Kay. If you don't, then whenever you are leaving and you are leaving a tip, just be like, hey, this is a tip for you, and bring a bag of Mary Kay goodies for them as a tip, because that's awesome. And then also, just ask how they liked it. If you feel like, who sits around you at church? So thinking about, if you go to church, where you go to church, who sits around you? I know we're 6 feet apart, but there are people that are in your area. So you could start with a compliment and see where it goes. So again, like knowing your limits and where you want to start, that's really important. It's your level of comfortability. So if you really want to take the time to get to know those people before you really bring Mary Kay into it, like that's okay. You don't have to feel pressured to get straight into everything. Another idea is a waitress at your favorite restaurant. So if you get the same takeout every Friday and you see the same person, ask them about what they use to wash their face. Ask them, like, compliment their skin, and so be like, oh, I love your skin. Like, what kind of products do you use? Like, oh, I use Mary Kay on my skin. Who helps you at the grocery store? You probably go to the same place to get your groceries, so likely you see the same people. We are creatures of habit. If you go and stay at a hotel, which are probably a lot of people are not right now, but when you go, bring some goodies with you and have them in your car ready to kind of hand out to that person, and, get their number so you can follow up with them. Get to know them. Who sold you a house? I know that I get at least 4 letters every year from my realtor and the person that helped me finance my house. So if they send out letters to constantly check in, then, you can also send them things too. I know that I sent out like, a charcoal mask and a tea bag to, some people just that were my realtor and my the person that financed my house. Who works at your gym? So if you go to the gym, thinking about the people that work there, again, like you probably see them quite frequently, so you can ask them. Christina and I are both teachers. You know, who teaches your child? If your child is in middle school, then they have probably at least 7 of them. So, you know, you can ask them, and even if you only really touch base with one person, then that's one person that you didn't touch base with before. So those are all some different ideas. And another thing that I wanted to share, which I think that some people might have this sheet, but I don't know if everyone does. And I'm gonna share my screen, but I don't know how well it's going to share or if it will let me. So let me try. Okay. So I have, hold on, let me move this. Well, there we go. Okay, can anybody see this? I can't see you also. So will someone audibly tell me?
We can see you. We can see it.
You can see it. Okay, great. So this is a sheet that I've used like whenever I feel like I'm stuck and I'm like, I don't know what to do and I don't pen. I know that I have one, and I know that everyone on here also has one. So wear your pen out, like whenever you go to the grocery store or whenever you go to work for your job one day, like people are going to notice it. It's shiny and it looks really cute. And so they might ask you about it. And so then they're approaching you. So it might make you feel more comfortable. Including your website on your email signature. That's a good idea because some people might not know that you sell Mary Kay and you haven't had the chance to reach them yet. So you could always just include it there and then they might contact you if they're interested. And that's another thing, you know, if you're not comfortable making the first step, then that's a way that you can kind of do it passively instead of actively. Let's see. And there are just like a whole bunch of different ideas on here. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I really like this sheet. And if your director hasn't shared it with you, then I'm sure that they can, because I think that Mary Beth has this and I also have it. So these are all, yeah, like I have circled bring goodie bags to bank tellers because that's something that I did. So those are just like as a short overview of all of those options. And so some other ideas that I have for reaching out to people are starting with samples and then building up from there. So again, like I talked about the tea and the maybe you have a lot of mascara and you don't know what to do with it. So just making little goodie bags. One thing that I did that made me really uncomfortable, but it also helped me to grow, which I think was the point of Mary Beth and I talking about it, was I handed out some masks with like some other things to people that I just randomly met for the first time, just to make myself purposely feel uncomfortable. So that way I could get used to having the conversation. So like there was a nurse that was pumping gas on the other side of the gas pump that I was at. And I said, you know what, like, I just really want you to feel appreciated because I think that what you're doing is really great, especially working during these times. I said, would you mind if I gave you a sample that was Mary Kay? And she said, yeah, sure. And I got her number and then it didn't turn into anything. But the point is, again, like the mindset that Christina was talking about, like I purposely put myself in a situation that made me feel uncomfortable because the next time I did it, it wasn't that hard. And the time after that I did it, it wasn't that hard. But you know, if you never put yourself in that situation, then it will feel impossible. And so those are just some ways to put yourself out there. Some other things that you might not know are out there for you to use is Mary Kay University. So when I first started my business, I remember looking into Mary Kay University, which is on InTouch. And, you know, I went through a lot of it and when I was doing my Power Start, but after that, I didn't really check it again and kind of look back at it. But those nuggets that are in there, they stayed the same. That information doesn't change. Like going back to the basics, doing your Power Start, seeing 30 faces in 30 days, like those things are what will help grow your business. So if you need to go back and challenge yourself to do a Power Start, then that might be a good idea. Like, hey, I'm just going to start at the very beginning, like I'm starting my business, and that's it. And so challenge yourself to do that. And then whenever you reach out to people, you can let them know, like, you know, hey, this is my challenge. I'm trying to see 30 faces in 30 days. And then you have a purpose for what you're doing instead of just reaching out to people and be like, hey, do you want to get together? Like, this is my goal that I set for myself. And so whenever you finally do reach out to those women, that gives you a why for calling them. And I say calling them because texting doesn't allow you to get to know them as well as calling them. And again, it's like putting yourself in that situation where you're going to feel uncomfortable because a lot of people don't talk on the phone anymore, but it's going to be worth it because you're going to know those people better and you'll get to know, they'll get to hear your voice and your inflection and, you know, how excited you are. And that will feed into the way that they're feeling about it. Because if you just text them, they can't hear your excitement and your passion about it. And so that's something that we're really losing by just texting instead of calling. So an example of something that you could say whenever you like finally do decide to call these women, like you've built up that bank teller, like you've asked her name, you've given her a sample, and you're like finally ready to call her. You could say something like, hey, Candace, this is Celeste calling. Do you have a quick second? Great. I'm so excited about a decision I've made. I've decided to blitz my business this week. What I need to do is get the opinions of 5 women of the Time-Wise line over the next week. Is there any reason you couldn't let me borrow your face and opinion? I'll have a great gift for you. And I'm going to put that in the chat just so that way you can kind of see it. So like blitzing your business, like if you've been doing Mary Kay, like you don't want to say like, oh, hey, I just started, because you didn't actually just start, but it's okay to like blitz your business, to be like, okay, this is a kind of revamp for myself. And this is my challenge to myself. So the key is like with this mindset hand in hand is maintaining consistency. So whatever that looks like for you, being consistent in what you're doing every day. So with contacting, like if you're writing 2 people down a day, great, be consistent with that. If you're only wanting to reach out to 1 person a week, great, be consistent with that, because without consistency, there's not going to be any growth. And that includes like the script that you're using, everything. Like just pick some basic things, and then those are your things that you're going to focus on. So that is all that I have. So hopefully that was helpful. And I'm going to turn over to you, Yesenia.
All righty. Can everybody hear me? All right, cool. Thank you, Celeste. That was actually really, really awesome. There's a bunch of stuff that I like, that handout there. I'm going to be going over that for sure, because there's some things on there that I hadn't thought about before. So that's awesome for sure. As Celeste was talking about, and Christina, your mindset is one of those things that completely is like, it's like that first hump, right? So you get up first thing in the morning and you're like, oh man, I don't feel good. It's not going to be a good day. The rest of your day can be that way if that's what you let your mindset to do. If not, you know, you change that mindset and you're like, you know what? I'm going to rock it regardless of how this day started. So then you get onto those consistencies, those goals that Celeste was talking about. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to talk to 5 people this week. You know, whatever that goal is that you set to revamp your business, or just get you, you know, re-energized, because that's a lot of times what is that other hump that we don't have. And then just kind of piggybacking off of that, what if you have this amazing mindset, you've been consistent with everything, and then all of a sudden you get the courage to ask somebody a question, right? You ask them like, hey, can I borrow your face? Or, hey, can I share the opportunity with you? Or even, hey, can I pitch my business, can you do some training with me? And they're like, no, I think I'm okay. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. So now what do I do? So I'm going to talk about overcoming those objections, because that's definitely something that I have had to work on. And a lot of that, again, has to do with your mindset, has to do with, some of your own personal challenges and overcoming those to get to those goals that we're reaching for. So I've had a couple of these. I'm not going to go over everything. I have this little handout here, but I'm going to post it because I don't know if my internet connection is being weird or not. But I'm going to post it I'll post a PDF to like a link to it later in the chat so you guys can see it, kind of download it that way. So I know when I first started my business, I actually had, getting out there, asking a couple friends, couple family members, and I actually had one of my friends, at least someone who I thought was a really good friend of mine. I asked her, hey, I started my Mary Kay business. Would it be okay? Because I'm asking, you don't want to just be like, hey, give me your face, or hey, try this stuff for me. You want to kind of ease into it, because we don't want to be scary Kay, right? We don't want to be that person where they're like, every time they see you, like, oh my God, she's going to ask me about Mary Kay again. Oh, let me, avoid this person. So I asked her, I was like, hey, I started my Mary Kay business. Would I be able to just talk to you about the business just so that I can get some practice just talking about it? And immediately she was just like, no, I don't wash my face. I was like, what? That's not even what I asked you. Like, but it was one of those where I was like, you don't wash your face? Like, it's just a crazy answer to a simple question. So something that you could say, just because that one was completely out of the blue. If somebody says like, hey, I don't wash my face. I don't do that. And you're like, okay, that's fine. That's okay. Thank you. You still want to thank them, of course, even though in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, what do you mean you don't wash your face? You're such a weirdo. Like, why wouldn't you just let me, train with you, right? So you still want to say thank you. You want to be as polite as possible, because, sometimes that person may have their own objections that are, holding them back. Maybe they're feeling insecure about something, or maybe they're just not interested, and that's okay. I would rather have somebody be honest with me and tell me no right away than, oh yeah, maybe we'll get together, and it never happens. So again, you still want to thank that person. Well, hey, you know what? Thanks anyway for, listening to, just acknowledging my text sometimes, or even like Celeste said, picking up that phone, just, hey, I have found that is way more effective than texting a lot of times. So that's one of the things that I have to get over myself as well, is I have to actually pick up the phone versus sending a text message. So that could be an objection as well that you have to get over, is not just, what somebody brings to you as far as like their response to your question, but what you're doing to yourself. Actually pick up the phone, call somebody. If you're not comfortable with that, FaceTime. Everybody's got FaceTime, right? We all want to have that human connection with people, especially with COVID times and everything. That is an objection itself, because you're like, well, I don't want to get out here and get coronavirus and all this good stuff, or not good stuff, rather. I don't want to get coronavirus. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to give it to anybody else if I do have it. So if you have an iPhone or Skype or whatever, if you want to have, just kind of get over that, I don't have a human connection right now, do that and you can see somebody. Another objection here, that would be, I'm too busy. Honestly, guys, with everything that's going on with coronavirus, if somebody tells you I'm too busy, they're lying to you. I'm going to tell you that just straightforward. There's no way you are too busy to just hear me, even just talk about a product, or even just say, hey, let me try to introduce myself as a Mary Kay consultant to somebody, especially if it's somebody that you know. If it's somebody that you don't know, then I can, you can kind of be like, well, maybe they have a crazy work schedule or something like that. Let's say if you're trying to book a party with somebody. Here we go. So I'm not a big party person. Okay, that's fine. You know, you don't have to be a big party person. How many girlfriends or do you have any family members that you'd like to get together with? You know, how many people do you know that you haven't seen in a little while? Would I be able to facilitate you, you know, hanging out or catching up with some of your friends or catching up with some of your family members? And then you can send them either some samples maybe, or even just share the business that way. Let's say you've been working on this person for a little while, you know, you've been kind of layering them, talking to them about the business, whether it is that you've wanted to add them to your team, or even if it's just you've been layering them to try to get a party started. Just that. Whether, you know, and it's doesn't matter if you have sent them product or if you're doing it QVC style, where you're the only one showing them and they're just kind of watching you. Because some people, you know, they don't, with all the mail stuff that's going on, it's been really complicated to get samples to everybody at the same time. So that could be an objection as well. So if you're scared about that, do it QVC style, especially with all the virtual stuff that we've got going on right now. It has been one of those that I need to jump on myself. I haven't done too well with virtual, but jumping on virtual and just getting over that excuse of, I don't know anybody, or I'm not a big party person. And I mean, like, there's all kinds of objections that you know, you could come up with, or that somebody else could come up with. The last one I have got here that I really want to just throw out there says, if they say no, like flat out, no, I don't want to try anything. No, I don't want to listen to your pitch. No, I don't, whatever, you know, whatever it is that they attach to that no. Again, you still want to thank them for just responding to you. Just say, hey, thanks for your time anyway. You have my phone number. If there's anything at any point in time, if you change your mind, or if you know somebody that might be interested, whether that's in a party, whether that's in trying something, or whether it's, you know, just sitting down with somebody if they've been interested before and maybe somebody who introduced them was a little scary, but you're, you know, they're kind of like, well, maybe, you know, maybe I'll listen to you because you're a little bit more comfortable, or a friend of mine might be more interested, but I'm not. That is another thing that you can do, is thank them. Like, hey, thank you again. I know you're not interested, but if you know somebody, please send them my information, or, you know, let me get their contact, just so that you can get that, you know, get over that objection there. And again, there's a good way to track all of your no's as well. You got, ladies, don't be afraid of no's. And I'm going to wrap this up a little here in just a second. Getting a no to your business is not the end of the world. It's not hurting you. It's honestly not even hurting your business at all. Because if you think about it, that's one milestone you got over. You asked somebody, they said no, move on to the next one. And that it's all full circle. Getting over that mindset, trying to get, you know, new people, getting those referrals, moving on to the next thing. You're like, hey, this person said no, no worries. I've got somebody else, you know, that I could possibly reach out to, or that I plan on reaching out to. And it's not saying that, you know, oh, I'm just going to throw this person away, we're not going to be friends or anything like that. That's not the case. Sometimes that person is just not ready at that point in time, and that's okay, because it took you a little while to get started with your business as well. It took a little while maybe for you to take that leap of faith and start your business. So just kind of think about it that way. There's tons of objections that you could receive from anybody, but the takeaway is, how do you get over those objections? Maybe it's even yourself, you know, get over your own objections, get over the other person's objections, and keep fighting for that yes. Keep fighting for that yes, because it will come. It will come, I promise you. And that's all I've got.
Okay, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to talk about working your Mary Kay business during personal hardship. So I really wanted to talk about this because I currently am going through a family hardship, and I'm still working my Mary Kay business, not as much as I want to, but I thought it was really important to talk about this because, especially with COVID, I'm sure we've all been affected in some way, form, or fashion, and maybe some of us a little bit more than others. So I just wanted to talk about it really quickly. I also had a script that I wanted to share about my lead jars, but I'm not in the position to share my script or share my screen or anything like that. So I can do that at another time. But one of the first points that I want to make in working your business through a hardship is recognize that you need time and figure out your current commitment or your in-moment commitment to your Mary Kay business. It is okay to take a little sabbatical from your business if you need to, especially if you're dealing with a hardship. My family and I have been dealing with this hardship for the last 2 months with COVID, and it's been really, really busy. And I kind of did let my Mary Kay business fall to the wayside just a little bit, but not entirely. And one way that I didn't allow my business to kind of fall away to the wayside, which brings me into my next point, is to communicate with your director. You need to communicate with your director and let them know what's going on, because they don't know what you can and cannot commit to in your business. So they can be like trying to be encouraging you with your business or helping you with your deadlines that you have made like months prior. And you could be like, oh my gosh, I do not have time for this right now. And it's because you didn't communicate to them. So you've got to communicate to your director, hey, this is what's going on in my life. This is what's going on currently with my business. I have kind of looked over everything, and this is the commitment that I can make to my business right now. This is how you can help me with that. Because your director is always going to ask you, how can I help you through this time? And if they ask, they mean, how can they help you during this time? So tell them, be honest with them, be open with them, and let them know how they can kind of help you, whether it's praying for you, whether it's reminding you of like STAR, if that's like a bigger goal that you have, whatever it is that they can do to help you, remind them. And then following communicating with your director. If you have a power partner, you need to communicate with your power partner, because you'll probably talk to your power partner a little bit more than you talk to your director, and they can kind of help you on a more like emotional side. Not saying that your director can't help you on an emotional side, because they can. But your power partner is who you're like actively doing your goals with, doing life with, doing your business with, and you want to communicate that with them. You want to be open and honest with them also. And then my next point is, if you can't really commit too much to your business, but you still want to stay active, you still want to finish some goals, then focus on your customers, your current customers. Focus on those reorders, ask them if they need anything, send them samples, upsell them if you can, which actually goes into my like sub point of this point, is upsell them. So when you're asking for those reorders, asking if they need anything, instead of asking if they need one, ask them if they need one or two. And that is a point that is a technique that I've been using with my reorders, and I've actually increased my sales with asking if they need one or two, because they don't know that they need two. You do. They don't know. So you need to tell them that they need two. Okay. Especially if it's like something that they're going to run through, like a cleanser, a moisturizer, a serum, oils, things that they're going to use like twice a day. They're going to need two. So focus on your customers, focus on those reorders, follow up with the samples. If you send them samples, try and maybe close on the samples, like close the sale on the samples, especially if they're seeing improvements in their skin. Try and close on the samples and give them a little bit more information on that. And then as far as parties are concerned, if you have parties booked and you're just like killing it in your business, and then you've hit a hardship in your life and you have parties booked, then I have two suggestions. I would dovetail. And I'm going to say dovetail because you want to be involved in your hardship as much as you can, especially if it is a crucial time, such as someone is passing or you don't have a lot of time with someone or you need time. Then I would dovetail. There are plenty of ladies in this world that have a face that you're going to encounter. So it is okay to dovetail. And if you don't know what dovetailing is, I'm going to explain it the best way that I can because I've only been dovetailed one time. It is when you reach out to a sister consultant or brother consultant, okay? And you say, hey, can you please take care of this party for me? And you can, in the Mary Kay book, like the book that comes in your starter kit, she explained dovetailing. And in the dovetail that I was dovetailed into, I took care of the ladies, their orders. I took the sales and I took them as customers. And really dovetailing, you can, that can be discussed between you and who you're giving the, like, handing over your party to. So if you want to have it to where they are taking care of the customers, but you also, like, they take care of the customers, like, by getting them product, but they're still your customers, like those ladies are still your customers if they order, then cool. Discuss that with the person that you're giving the party to, okay? Reach a commitment on what you ladies are going to do. I've been dovetailed before. It was cool. I loved it. It was last minute, so I did my best, okay? But if you don't want to dovetail, then do the party with your director or your power partner. They will help you, okay? That is what they are there for. If you really just want to do the party yourself, you need a distraction. Do the party with your director or your power partner. They will help you. I mean, hopefully they have enough time between the time that you contact them for you to ask them to help you with the party and the date of the party, but ask them if they will help you with your party. And then, oh yeah, those are all my points. I know I went through that kind of fast, but we don't have that much time. But yeah, those are my tips for how to work your Mary Kay business during a hardship. And then I'm going to turn it over to Christina, and she's going to close us.
This has been a really fun night for me. So I've really enjoyed hearing everybody's story. So I'm just going to close out with a prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for all that you are. Thank you for the little things that we don't know in our own lives that you have already brought and planned and taken care of for us. Thank you for this group of ladies and the experiences that we have together, and thank you for the opportunities to come. Please keep each one of us safe and inspired and our eyes on you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, before everybody hops off, can I hop in here for just a second?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just have to say, mind is blown again. You guys did an incredible job. I have tons of notes. We learned so much from you guys. This is so much fun to have you all lead. And I truly believe that it puts you into the position. I was telling Mary Beth and Nancy, like, we as women, we are natural born leaders. I don't know if y'all know this, but we are naturally leaders. And so sometimes you kind of have to be like the baby eagle, where mama eagle is pulling all of the little things, all of the twigs out of the nest, and you're just forced to fly. And you guys didn't just fly, you all soar. And I am so proud of you. And my heart is just so full, and we are so proud. And so thank you, you guys. It is so evident that each of you spent so much time preparing for tonight. Our girls from earlier this month, same thing. You spent so much time preparing and just bringing the excellence, you guys. I am just like, my mind is blown, and we are so happy and so proud. And so anyway, before we hop off, I don't want to step in front of Mary Beth or Nancy if y'all want to say something, but I do have some homework for you guys. Mary Beth and Nancy, do y'all have anything before I tell them about their homework? Okay, so next week when we gather, we've got some fun things planned, and it's going to be a very interactive night. The directors will facilitate, but you guys are going to be very active in next week's training. And so the homework that I am going to ask you guys, so if you grab a piece of paper and a pen really quickly, I have some quick homework to ask you all to work on between now and then. And so I want you to make a list. I want you to make 2 lists. I want you to make first a list of all the things that you have gained along the way as a result of your Mary Kay business. And then I also want to ask you to make a list of all the things that you would have missed out on if you had not said yes to Mary Kay. I love everybody taking notes. Love it. Okay, and then for our team builders, those of you who have a team, I want you to make a list of kind of the same thing. Make a list of all that you have gained as a result of having a team, and all the things that you would have missed out on if you had not built a team. Does that make sense? Okay. And so we're going to be asking you guys to share some of those things next week, and we're just going to build on that. So we're very excited. And then on February 8th, when we gather, Esmer and her team of consultants, it'll be Susan and Cecilia and Esmer. We're so excited. We can't wait to hear from you all. I've heard some little tidbits of what you guys are going to do, and we're really excited about hearing from you all. But you guys, that's going to continue on. We're going to continue to have you guys to present. And so we'll be talking a little bit more about that next week also. Are you guys excited? Okay. Yay, I love the spirit fingers. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Everybody stay safe. And all the PDFs and everything, we'll get those posted out there to you all tomorrow when we post the recording of tonight. Okay? All right, good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.